hello, hello. How's everyone doing?
Welcome.
This is the Crypto Sheikhs. This is the leading podcast in Dubai and the UAE, where you, regardless of your skill level, will learn everything from cryptocurrencies to blockchain technologies.
Let's talk about the metaverse, NFTs, the artist's journey, and overall, what it takes to become successful with your NFT projects.
Yeah, so I think yesterday's discussion, we very much focused on the broader sort of big picture, the community building. We talked a little bit about NFTs, the Twitterverse, the Discord, and all that. Here we have one of the finest artists in the Middle East right now. She's been very successful this past year on platforms like Foundation, which is where we were seeing a lot of very curated works. And I think I wanted to maybe start off with a discussion about what it's been like, to be a fine artist who has been in the traditional art space, because you've been producing art for a long time, Kristel. What has it been like to be part of now this metaversal project coming and bridging the two worlds together?
Well, first, GM everyone, happy to be here. Well, I've been working with both medium, traditional acrylic painting and digital drawings, and I used to have to print them before the NFTs and the blockchain technology. And what happened is early on this year, when I understood what this technology offers for digital artists especially, I had to adopt it as soon as possible. It is a technology that offers so much opportunities and solutions for us digital artists. It's been an amazing experience so far. I have met so many interesting characters, creative persons, tech experts, and I've collaborated with so many amazing teams. The community is amazing, the NFT community, and so far I'm looking forward. I think the future is so bright for us digital artists.
Yeah, wonderful. So I think I wanted to first start by also saying, let's talk a little bit about Foundation, because this discussion is very much, I think, catered to those of you who are interested. So there's a lot of discussion right now about whether the NFT art space is like a fad, whether or not we've seen the whole. So yesterday we talked about Bored Ape Yacht Club, we talked about the punks, we shilled the cool cats, obviously, and many people might look at that and be like, well, this isn't really art, right? What is this? This isn't art in the sense that I understand it to be. Or you might say, well, those are different because they're collectibles, right? Now, Foundation has really changed, and also Super Rare to an extent as well. They've kind of changed the way art is curated. And obviously, we have Giuseppe here, who is a real-world curator. I maybe wanted to hear from you, and maybe the two of you on this point. Now that we're seeing art curation taking place, where fine artists are now able to sell their works for multiple serious sums of money on places like Foundation, where do you kind of see this bridge taking place? Or do you see the market share of art really moving away from in this traditional galleries? Will galleries be relevant in a world where we can have art displayed this way and where people can buy quite easily on places like Foundation? What are your thoughts?
Thank you, Anas. I think we are experiencing a renaissance in the digital art world. So we are in this transitional phase where things are moving from real to virtual, real art to virtual art, real estate, virtual estate, all these kind of things. So I think digital artists have already acknowledged that, and they are taking actions. Now, the wider art world now is still a bit skeptical. There is a lot of still skepticism from the old and more traditional art ecosystem. So there are a lot of artists and organizations that adopted these technologies that already are exploring the way of adapting these technologies in their project. Institutions like Art Basel or other institutions, museums are adopting this technology. But organizations like Louvre, for example, they are still a bit skeptical. Now, I was reading the other day that finally they are considering to exploring the NFT world and to start to adapt it in their projects.
So I have a question. So we do see a lot of many times we see artists in the traditional space trying to bridge into the metaverse and NFTs. And we see that it doesn't always become very, very successful, that jump from traditional art into the metaverse. And I think the reason for that is that the nature of the NFTs is that the underlying asset is usually the token, and it's difficult to tie it to physical art. So my question is, do you believe you can sell an NFT as a physical, or should it be only a digital?
So from my experience, I'd have to say that I have collectors who are traditional collectors who comes to my studio and love my paintings and want to have the physical painting in their homes or in their walls. They want to see it. But at the same time, they believe in the crypto world and the NFTs and how you can build a provenance when you have a digital record of this work. So what I've been doing is, although I'm taking a photo, a very good photo of this physical painting, I can create an NFT for it, and then they can have their physical painting at their home as well. So I don't want to say, I don't know if it's true to say or to give a name hybrid to this, what I'm doing, but I'm offering physical artworks for the digital as well as an NFT for the physical paintings.
And do you see that the NFTs that you're creating, that they're taking over your physical sales?
So for the last 12 months, I'd have to say that I've sold over 30 artworks that are only NFT digital artworks that are only available as NFTs. And the value is...
I think that requires an applause. 30 artworks as NFTs.
Let me just also say... Hello? That the floor price on one of her works on Foundation, is it close to 3 ETH?
Oh, yeah, the floor price, yes.
Yeah, it's close to 3 ETH, and it's not easy to reach a 3 ETH floor price. That's a lot, so, massive congrats.
That means a minimum of around $12,000 per piece of art.
Yes.
So actually, I wanted to go back a little bit more on, maybe we can talk to the audience a little bit about what it takes if someone's new to the space, they want to try to get into this space, maybe they're a fine artist or something. We talked a lot about community building last time, and I definitely think, for you, you've built yourself a community on your Instagram page. You're now building your community on Twitter. People know you. You've obviously used various mediums to grow your community. So we're at Arts DAO. We're big investors of different various types of arts through our DAO. And every day we have artists reaching out to us saying, oh, Anas, how can I launch my art? I don't know what to do. And I look at the art pieces and I say, okay, your art piece is fine. It's beautiful. But you're missing the key component, which is you haven't built a community around your work. How can you expect to sell? Maybe you could talk a little bit about how you've grown your community, how you've kind of made people love what you do and connect with your work, because I think you've done a great job.
So yes, I'd have to say I didn't just enter the NFT world just out of nowhere. I've been an artist, a professional artist for 5 years. I've been painting and experimenting my whole life with different mediums until I found a style that is unique to me. And this is very important. Once you have your signature, however you want to present your artwork, your work, your ideas, your messages, whatever medium you choose to do, it will show. It will show the nature. It will show your soul. If I want to say, your messages will be delivered. So first thing is to have a unique, recognizable style that you love as an artist, and then it will sell itself to the people, the community. And then, of course, you need a team behind you. You need to build a community, and this comes from years of working experience. And it will build. I grew my community organically, and then I had a team that helped. But then it's because of the style. I finally found a style that works for me, that I love, and it talks to people. And then I transitioned it into digital and then into NFTs.
Yeah, so that's what you pointed out about the aspect of community building and the importance of communities when it comes to NFTs. That's such a good, valuable point, because now in the past, people bought art because they either liked the art or it was an investment, or they kept it in the vault in Geneva. But nowadays, people buy NFTs because they want to be part of a community. It's such an important building block of the NFT space. And me and Anas, we have one of the communities in the UAE, in Dubai, the Arts DAO community. But my question to you, Giuseppe, because you've been working as a curator both for traditional artists and now you moved into NFTs. When you look at their communities or the community aspect, what things do you take into perspective, into consideration?
Well, first of all, considering that the artist community, they are still discovering. I get a lot of questions from artists and even galleries, for example, that they are exploring. They are very eager to understand what is happening in this world. They want to kind of like don't miss the boat, like what you were talking about in the other room, in the workshop room. But so they are trying to understand what they can do with their concept, how can develop an NFT. And many artists are simply taking photo of their work or creating small animations from their work and put it online. But other artists are going deeper into the research and creating more conceptual narratives that are like more important and more relevant. The other side is also the community, as you say, the community that you create around the project. So that's important. And what I notice is that the community around the NFTs is 95% non-art related. People who comes from a different kind of background, which is very interesting. And that means that finally, the artist can actually reach a wider audience. And I would say that artists have now the opportunity to be on top of the food chain of the financial system because of this tokenization of culture and this opportunity that we have to tokenizing and financializing creativity. So, because until, a few years ago, we could only say, okay, this is the artwork, this is the value evaluated by the auction house or the art dealer or the gallerist. But now there is the blockchain, which allow like a more transparent and open dialogue.
So I want to move this conversation in a different direction now. I think what's quite interesting that my observation is we've sort of seen the creation or and Jordan Belfort sort of addressed this yesterday, the creator economy, right? We are now moving into a world. So if we can just understand the kind of background, we've got a lot of AI integration coming into the world. A lot of the kind of mechanical, labor-intensive jobs that used to be done by people are increasingly being taken up by robots. I used to be a lawyer myself, and I remember this even in the legal field, a lot of lawyers being replaced by technology. And I think what's happening now is we're seeing an increased sort of adoption or increased focus on for people's jobs to become relevant or stay relevant, they have to be creative in scope. And what we're also seeing is now the entrepreneurs, the field of entrepreneurship is increasingly being opened now to artists, right? Artists traditionally were not seen necessarily as entrepreneurs, but Kristel, you are effectively now an entrepreneur in many different ways. And what's also quite interesting, you're earning different types of passive income through the royalties you're able to possess through NFTs. Because in the traditional space, you sold your art piece, it's gone, you're not getting any more royalties on that. And what's very interesting about NFTs is the mint is actually less relevant. It's actually the royalties that you make a lot of money on. And so I wanted to kind of push this in your direction, Kristel. Maybe you could speak a little bit about what it's like to have been, initially an artist and now transitioning from an artist into effectively an entrepreneur.
So the NFTs accelerated this, but actually, since I started, I got my own studio, and I think of my studio as a business. And this is why I have a team that helps me do the administrative work, the sales, the marketing. I need to be focused on the creative part and side of the business. But then I have the knowledge of the business side as well. I need to grow, and this is what I've done. Whenever an opportunity shows up, I need to take it, and this is what happened with the NFTs. So I've been doing digital art, but it's just digital art. I used to print them, Okay, I used to have to defend them that they are not less than my traditional paintings. They have to be scaled on the same scale, right? Valued on the same scale. So whenever I have an opportunity, I take it, and this is what happened with the NFTs, which is like it's totally a new game for me. Like it's scaled up a lot. I can tell you, like as I'm saying, I run my studio as a business, and I keep track of all my sales activities. And then this year, I've seen like a growth in my traditional art, and plus the NFT sales, which is like
amazing. So me and Anas, we're co-founders of Arts DAO, as you know, and one of the services we offer is the marketing, because we believe NFTs are businesses. So if we talk about the struggling artists, back in the days, artists were scrambling to be able to pay their rents, and this concept of the struggling artist is changing. People are investing in culture. Kids that have money on their Ethereum wallet is now starting to invest into NFTs, which is a beautiful thing. But at the same time, for someone that wants to be successful in the space, the marketing aspect is really important. What do you have to say about that? How important is that, and what should they think about?
It is important. It is very important. The marketing is, telling your story. It's and it's exposing you to a wider audience, obviously. So you need to be surrounded by a good team that knows you, knows what you want to show, what you want to tell, and you need to spread it. You need to spread your work. You need a community. And this is very important, and this is what NFT actually gave me, like a community that supports what I'm doing, that helps with any project I would like to take part of. And this is something new. With like I would never thought of collaborating with teams to create projects and generative art, and this is a new dimension to my work.
So I just want to touch on this, a very important concept, generative art. So we touched on this briefly on our talk yesterday, but generative art is something now that's been, we're seeing, it's something quite pioneering that we've seen on the Ethereum blockchain, where when you mint an art piece, right, you don't actually know what the art piece looks like until you press mint, right? And what happens is, a smart contract and an algorithm is effectively sort of initiated that links to a database of different traits or sort of styles that together in that moment produce the art piece. So that some of the most blue chip NFTs that have come through this year are all generative art pieces. So if you think of the crypto punks, obviously that's more in the sort of collectible space, but there's also art blocks. Art blocks is one of the most impressive crypto projects that we've seen today. And what I think is interesting now is a lot of these traditional artists, they are now looking to create generative projects of themselves, because if they have those skills to produce great pieces, they too can produce generative art. In a way, what's quite interesting about this as well is that it represents, in a way for artists to raise capital. It's like an IPO. So in the old world, only companies could IPO, right? But now an artist could IPO, raise money. So one of the artists in our group, her name is Gigi. Shout out to Gigi if you're in the house.
Gigi.
She produces wonderful pieces of work. She's creating a sneaker project out of her beautiful artworks now. She's kind of raised in a kind of IPO through selling effectively these art pieces, right? And so it's a great sort of inspiration, I think, to other artists in the traditional space. If they want to enter the art world, you can now raise capital in this way to create projects and companies around your work. A true innovation, I think, for the space.
It's amazing, and if you look at it, she started out less than a year ago, and she started by spending a lot of time on Twitter, researching the market, tweeting, engaging with the online community, building a following online, and suddenly growing, and now she's doing really well.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
very proud of her.
So going back to you, Giuseppe, I think a lot of these topics pose, potentially a threat to the old existing kind of system of galleries, right? I think what's interesting also about this space is the gallery space is traditionally quite a snobby kind of environment, right? It is very much the reserve of, I remember when I used to work at a law firm, you know, these old wigs, they used to be like, yes, I was at an auction yesterday, and, like, this isn't really accessible for the majority of people in the world, but this new world with Foundation, Super Rare, the kind of giving access to everyone. How do you sort of see this interplay? Do you think galleries in the old world are going to become increasingly irrelevant? So the Christie's and, these old are they going to be kind of decentralized away by new entrants in the Web3 world?
Well, you touch an important point, Anas, and I'm going to repeat the word that has been repeated many times. This is like a more democratization of art. So the art world is becoming more democratized because of this technology. So this kind of approach, of course, it's an old school. The old galleries, they will continue to be there. Painters will continue to paint. Sculptors will continue to produce sculptures, but there will be now a new technology that will allow traditional artists or digital artists to use it for their concept. So the important thing is that how all of these will develop in the next couple of years. Now, to come back to your point, there are a lot of, as I said before, a lot of museums, institutions, galleries that are still skeptical, still a bit not unconfident to enter in this world, maybe because they don't know yet, or maybe because in principle, they don't accept it. But I think it's a technology that it's here to stay, and at some point, everyone will utilize it. Just to give an example, now today we are always talking about NFTs as a digital art, but not enough as utility. So, for example, and when I say utility, I mean, for example, not membership or these kind of things. I'm talking about like tracing an artwork from a collection, for example. Before, you have to write a piece of paper that mentioned in 1985 was here, in 1950 it was in the museum, this private collection. Now, everything can be traced online. And that's something amazing that you can do for all the collections, for example, the private collections around the world. Instead of having a collection in Switzerland or in Dubai or anywhere around the world, it doesn't matter as long as it's traced online. So that's an example that I can see tangible, that we can use it today.
On the topic of collections, actually, I want to just reference one point, which is relevant to what you guys produced very recently. So there's a huge collector here in the Middle East called UAE.NFT. Look him up on Instagram and Twitter. He's a very big voice. He's also in our community. We've met with him a couple times, but he likes to stay quite private. He's one of the original owners of Kristel's work, your Satoshi piece, which is very beautiful. And very, very recently, you produced a very interesting project with him and Giuseppe as well. You guys both issued a series of NFTs, actually for free to the public, right? It was 7 pieces representing the 7 different emirates in the UAE on National Day. And it was given for free, right? Because I think Mr. UAE NFT wanted to mark this event as a way to bring new people here in the Middle East and the UAE more generally as well into the NFT space. I thought maybe you guys could comment a little bit about this project, because it's a very inspirational project in my view.
You want to start? Yeah.
So, From Desert to Mars, it's the title of this collection, and I'm super proud to be part of this collection, curated by Giuseppe and the other artists. It is so unique. Each artwork is unique to its own artist and its own message and its own voice. And I was very happy I received many messages from people who minted, and they were all happy that this is their first mint, or they needed help to mint it, because it's their first NFTs. And it was very rewarding, because we want people to adopt the technology. We want more artists and more collectors to understand and start using the technology. We want it to be more simple and more easier and accessible to everyone. So I'm very proud of this collection, and you will be hearing more about the utilities and
so this is that's quite interesting. Maybe you can comment a little bit about that.
Very briefly, the project was an initiative by UENFT.io, and it's an initiative by a wider company called Bedu. Now the project was launched to commemorate the 50 years of the anniversary of the UAE, and the idea was to commission 7 artists from different parts of the world to basically represent and portray the UAE in any way. So there are 3 artists based in the UAE. Kristel is one of them, and then there is Mata bin Lahaj, and anyway, artists from all over the world in order also to reflect the melting pot of the UAE. This project was initially launched to given for free, and the opportunity to meet 1,971 editions for each project. So in total were around 13,000 pieces that were almost 99% almost given away, all minted. Now what happened in the upcoming days, in the upcoming future, there will be a membership tied with the 7 pieces that are purchased altogether. So whoever has the 7 pieces will be given a membership. The benefit we don't know yet. We still have to announce.
That's amazing. It's a good thing we own 7 pieces each then. So just going back to your question before about whether or not Christie's, Sotheby's, these big auction houses will be irrelevant in the future, I see a trend. And the trend that I'm seeing is that, with the emergence of blockchain technologies, you saw the financial industry being disrupted. So what blockchain does is it cuts out the middleman. It cuts out the banks. It cuts out the investment banks. And in the future, I believe, even for art, it will cut out middlemen like Christie's and Sotheby's. It will be completely decentralized. The music industry is going to be massively changed. I believe in the next 5 years, if Spotify is not on their toes, they're going to get bypassed by an NFT music platform.
Web3 Spotify.
Where artists can create their own music, create them as NFTs, and reach out directly to their audience.
Their community, effectively.
And get all of the royalties. Why should they get 10% of the royalties? So the way that the decentralization removes the middleman is quite amazing. And I think there's a lot of things that we don't expect that will happen in the next few years.
100%. All right, I think we have to wrap this up. I mean, it was a very rewarding discussion with both of you. I think very, very salient points. I want you guys make sure to give both of these guys a follow. Kristel Bechara, what's your Instagram? Maybe you want to just share that. Kristel Bechara.
Kristel.
Follow her on Twitter as well, Kristel_Atelier. And Giuseppe, Evolve.DXB.
Yes.
Yes.
And don't forget to follow the Crypto Sheikhs _podcast.
And Arts DAO as well.
Arts
All right.
DAO.
I hope you guys enjoyed the talk. And yeah, thank you guys for having us on stage.
Thank
you so much.